kids in Gaza are now dying from the deliberate withholding of food. In addition to the horror of that news, one other thing is true. That is a war crime. It is a textbook war crime. And that makes those who orchestrate it war criminals. So now the question is, what will the United States do? What will we do? What will President Biden do? President Biden must take action in response to what is happening.
And he voted for it. $14 billion for Israel to keep doing the things that it was doing. But, you know, he gave a very compelling speech. We covered that last week, but I had found the entire clip, and I just wanted to make sure that was entered into the record for this week's time capsule, because if you don't do stuff like that, things kind of tend to like get away from you. And you should hear that juxtaposed to seeing those poor people starving and trying to put together some meals amidst trying to not get shot by $14 billion that he helps to send over there to keep it going. I mean, that's paramount hypocrisy right there. And well played with your speech, and you hope that nobody really checks the record, but I'm pretty sure that that was a done deal. And it's not like it's his fault. He goes there, he has a little pager, they tell him how to vote. The chief of staff cuts all the deals with the people who finance his being a congressman or senator. Oh, he's a senator in the first place. And that's how that works. So don't hate the player, hate the game, right? That's how that's supposed to work. All right, so Tony, were you appalled by any of the clips that we just played? Because it's about to get worse, but we got to make it better with a little putting stuff back together factually for people.
I mean, yeah, obviously I'm very appalled, and you know, it's the moral unscrupulousness to what is taking place is it's been very difficult. I've seen a lot of and researched a lot of very difficult topics, obviously, with you and by myself, just trying to understand and educate myself about the nature of humanity, the nature of the world, the nature of ideas and philosophy and spirituality and theology and mysticism and all these various subjects. But having to witness, you know, we've covered some of the darkest elements, you know, when we think about like Kinsey, for example, and this supposed sexual revolution and this sort of metaphorical demoniacal individuals that supported what the Gemini is calling, you know, using like the MAPS definition from pedos, you know, that sort of thing.
Normalization.
So I'm trying to think of like the worst thing, right? This normalization taking place, right? But this has been extremely the conspicuousness, the explicitity, if you will, aspect of the explicit aspect of this tragedy, the rapidity, as I mentioned earlier, you know, the mobilization of our 400,000 IDF forces in the north of Gaza for a stretch of land that is about 25 miles long with only 7 miles across or something like that.
4 months to work on it.
Yeah, and right. And I mean, and then seeing the TikToks, it's like so many avenues of our understanding of how to dehumanize individuals, how to create a Nazi system. It's like how to do this all, we get to see it in real time. In the Nazi system, it was a lot of hearsay. It was a lot of through media publications. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have.
It was very similar insofar as the victims of the Nazis, they were disarmed already too. And so you could see where the Nazis could sit around and play with lingerie and do stuff like that because they got time. They're not really under threat for the most of their day. That's how they can act like that and put teddy bears in the front of their Humvees.
Same with the Soviets. You know, the Soviets, it wasn't until the 60s and 70s until those journalists, you know, were able to escape from Soviet Russia, Solzhenitsyn being sort of one of those individuals, and come over and be like, no, the situation is completely deplorable, and people are eating animals on the streets, and you know they don't have the basic necessities for life, and you know then they're all these various considerations. Then in the Bosnian genocide I mentioned earlier, because that's the one I can remember when I was a kid. I was in school, we were talking about it in my parochial school, and that one, you know, they those war criminals, they videotaped it with old tapes, you know, some of the actions that they did. It's like, this is how psychopathic, you know, but it also, what are the universal themes here? The dehumanization, the ability to to not recognize the universals we share in common with other people, regardless of ethnicity or culture or whatever, non-pertinent property we associate with our being, like height and gender and weight. And these things don't matter. That's not what makes us fundamentally human, right? And somehow justified as being something less than or different than. I think that is really the key function, is some of this dehumanization, this element to create a sort of disgust has to be with this instantiation of this idea of they're not us. They are just fundamentally not us. And by doing that, that creates the conditions for disgust, and where you can get truly moral people to commit in a sort of mass formation and support genocide. No different than what happened in Nazi Germany, or what happened in Soviet Russia in the gulags, or what happened in various other theaters throughout, in Cambodia, as we mentioned, in Laos and Vietnam. God, we could go on and on. Yeah. And China and Japan during World War II against the Chinese. I mean, Jesus, it just, yeah.
I too got exposed to a couple of these ideas we're talking about tonight during college. Not on purpose of college. It didn't mean to do that. But I mentioned earlier tonight, In the Name of the Father, Daniel Day-Lewis.
Right. Good point.
My name's Jerry Conlon. My father, Giuseppe Conlon's an innocent man. He does, like, that's a true story. And when you see how the British interrogated the Irish and how they made up stories and used a whole bunch of Hasbara, it is not far off from what you're seeing today.
I forgot about that.
I remember being shocked.
You probably remember that.
I was viscerally shocked by that movie. I was like, these are all people speaking English. What's going on here? I didn't know about all that history in the 70s. And then I learned about my first political prisoner that I learned about was Mumia Abu Jamal. And I've done a lot of research into that dude's case. And that also looks like a whole lot of racism, especially if the police will firebomb a whole block of their own city. Very, very Israeli tactic there. Very much, something you'd see from back in the day. King David Hotel type stuff.
Yeah,
anyway,
Argoon style, right?
The other one that I thought about when you're talking about Bosnia, we had like 4 or 5 of us lived in an apartment. It's college. Bosnia's going on. Bosnian refugee, our age, shows up. And good for him for finding an American college town as a refugee. First off, that guy could drink anybody under the table. Vodka was his thing. His name was Sulio. Wow. He hung out with us for a couple weeks and then split.
That's great. Wow.
And I didn't know about genocide or ethnic cleansing too much about
Did he say anything?
Europe, other than the Holocaust and stuff like that at that point. So that was an interesting thing that they were doing over there in Bosnia back in the day.
Yeah, it was very strange. And let's not forget, there's ones also in the past that have been mentioned, the Armenian genocide through 1915, like somewhere in the 1910s through 1920, somewhere in 1910s, I think. There's been a number of them, but to see it documented real time because of information technology, even it's a double-edged sword, right? Because the first, it sort of analogically harkens back to the 1960s in Vietnam, but those are very shocking images to people. I think obviously my concern today is there's still a shock going on because we haven't seen this conspicuousness in regards to the IDF showcasing their war crimes like this in real time, this fast. But at the same time, I hope there's not a desensitization taking place in regards to what we're witnessing, and sort of a tacit, sort of subconscious predictive programming to genocide in the future based on us becoming numb to the fact of seeing this over and over again. So maybe that's just my cybernetic mind being, or not me literally supporting cybernetics, but knowing about cybernetics, being concerned about the systems theory approach to the way in which this might impact mentality moving forward. The other thing to mention, Rich, and you'll know, Katie Halper, awesome, and Zach, I forget his last name. I think his name's
Foster, Zach Foster.
Foster. Great. They're doing a fantastic job, but they missed a key opportunity to bring up Hillary Clinton's past, unless I missed it.
Yeah.
They totally missed bringing up.
I tweeted, I tweeted at, I tweeted it in response to her. So if you were to find her tweet, because she's, talking about the sexual weaponization, this whole, I'm like, that's how she made her bones. And then I included, here's the reference. And we've played it on the show. We don't need to play it right now.
Yeah, we don't need to play
there's
it
an audio recording of Hillary Clinton explaining how she covered up for a pedo and basically got him off the hook. and used the girl who was like the guy was guilty and she was innocent. She turned it around, and that's why they're like, yeah, she can go up in the world and she'll work at the Rose Law Firm and all this other stuff and be Bill Clinton Rhodes Scholar's wife and then be a real presidential candidate with a PP dossier and all sorts of other shenanigans, Russiagate. She really likes to throw a wrench in our constitutional republic by trying to make it a democracy all the time. That's part
Yeah,
of what I'm observing.
Majority
that
rule through
situation.
propaganda and manipulation. Might as well be the definition of democracy.
All right. So coming up in this show still, we have to get to debunking all the false claims that have been made in the past week that were very egregious and involved a whole bunch of innuendo that we've kind of covered a little bit. We need to, like, nail that down. And also, we're going to look at some of the colonization letters, because it's not just Herzl inspiring Hitler. You might have had Cecil Rhodes inspiring some of the Zionist founders in their colonization efforts. We're going to look at those historical artifacts in those letters. But first, we got to get to this clip. We got a Lee Camp clip coming up. Israeli plans becoming clearer, because this is the part where they're starting to unveil it. And we also have to answer that Michael Rapaport question that we opened up last week. Where's the apartheid? Where's the apartheid? Jimmy Dore's got a little bit of an answer. I have more of an answer in the next media block. So this is a
They showed,
foreshadowing.
actually, I was thinking about that. They showed part of the answer earlier tonight
Yeah,
when they talked about going from North Gaza, as I mentioned last week, into southern Israel, and how long they have to stand in line and be berated and go to have it, all their property
That's apartheid right there, but they got some West Bank apartheid. They got some red
the
roof
West Bank
inns that they're
too,
trying
yeah.
to put in between the apartheid. There's a little bit more that we got to unfold for that character, because he's providing a real opportunity for education out there. I think he is. Not intentionally. He's also providing an opportunity for comedy, also not intentionally.
Not intentionally.
This guy doesn't deserve this much attention, but he's so stupid that it's fun.
I think he's quite a great spokesman and a credit to APAC.
This is exactly exactly the kind of help Israel doesn't need, is fucking morons like this. So let's just watch and let's enjoy.
All right, I'm in Jerusalem at the Machane Yehuda market. I'm looking for the apartheid, okay? In Israel, I am looking for the apartheid. I just asked all these people, not one person is able to tell me where the apartheid is. So I'm asking you on this platform, since you're so smart, to tell me where I can go to actually witness the apartheid. You guys know where the apartheid is? No idea. No one knows where the apartheid is, but I'm sure you can tell me. Let me know where the apartheid in Israel is.
Holy shit.
All right, I'm in Jerusalem.
Feel about this.
I'm on the Upper East Side, and I keep asking people, where is the apartheid? Where is the fucking income inequality? I haven't seen a single fucking project here on the Upper East Side. I need to get back into the middle of the road and look somewhere else that's not the camera. Listen, you fucks. The only thing I fucking see is older ladies with Hermes scarves up here. Where's the apartheid? It's like when you fucks say that there is police brutality. Really? Because I was just walking by a fucking precinct and saw a black cop. You want to say there's police brutality? Show me. Just like you fucks want to say that there's apartheid. Well, I'm here. I'm here on the Upper East Side. You fucks, show me where it is. I haven't seen a single poor black up here, or any black people at all. I refuse to leave fucking Tel Aviv, but I need you to show me where the apartheid is, you fucks. I was helping a fucking settler move into a house he stole in the occupied West Bank, and the Palestinian family that were fucking in there didn't even try to fight the armed IOF moving their shit out, okay? Now if you'll fucking excuse me, I'm gonna go have a Palestinian child for lunch.
So that was hilarious.
She's got to be more nasal if she wants to really nail it.
Well, she nailed the essence.
Yeah.
Yeah.